People told me I couldn't do a lot of things.
I feel like I'm the chosen one.
Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. All we are is proud and passionate. I love Toronto. I love this team. And we're going to the NBA.
Nothing matters but winning.
Welcome back to episode 55 of Rapzville Weekly. I'm your co-host Gabriel, here with Adam Casucci. And today we have two regular season games to talk about. The Toronto Raptors versus the New Orleans Pelicans and the Toronto Raptors versus the Boston Celtics. Both games in which we lost, making our record now 1-5. Clearly we are very angered and we have a lot to talk about, so be ready. The Toronto Raptors have the second worst record in the league, so you know we're going to have a lot to say. But as always, please like and subscribe and leave your comments down below. We want your opinions and we want this discussion to keep going because there's a lot to talk about here. Adam?
All right, let's take it away here. All right, so another winnable game lost to the New Orleans Pelicans, 120-116. After completing a nice run in the fourth quarter to take the lead, but still fell short in the end. Once again, a trend that's continuing with this Toronto Raptors team. The Pelicans shot a total of 47 free throws, which was absurd. Questionable reffing, once again. I don't know why we are getting a lot of the less experienced refs. And if you notice, the bigger names are going to the Lakers games, Clippers games, and all the bigger teams of the NBA. And I feel like this isn't the right way to do it, and the NBA should kind of split it up or sort out the reffing situation and kind of split up the experienced referees with maybe a non-so-experienced referee. So it kind of balances out. I think once you put the stronger crews together, they perform, obviously, they officiate well. And then obviously when you're putting too much less experienced refs together, you're going to get poor results, and I felt like this was another one. 28 free throws in the fourth quarter for the Pelicans, which is a record for the most against a Raptors team in any quarter, which is pretty sad. The Raptors were 14 from 48 from the three-point line. The shooting woes continue. What can we do to change this? Is it the shot selection, or is it just a rough shooting stretch for the team? Gabe?
I honestly think it's a rough shooting stretch. Obviously, there's not much changes you can make. Nurse has tried different lineups. People are obviously complaining about the minutes and such, but he's tried a bunch of different things. And so far, what I've noticed, especially this game, was that almost everyone shot below 50% from the field. The only people that's excluding is Chris Boucher, who had a fantastic night, and Aaron Baines, who only shot 7 shots, and they're all close shots. So the field goal percentage is not good at all for our entire team. And if you look at the three-point percentage, you have Pascal Siacom 0 for 4, OG 2 for 8, Fred 4 for 13, Kyle 3 for 11, Boucher 1 for 4. The only person that had a decent three-point night was Powell 4 for 6. But I think honestly there's a big shooting problem. I don't know what it is. We really have to work this one out because it's going to be a big factor in determining our success this season. And talking about the free throws, absolutely crazy. 28 free throws in a single quarter. The amount of calls that requires, and some of the calls were, I think, very light calls. They easily could not have been called. You think Pascal Siakam's 6th foul, Josh Hart barely brushed him and he got an and one. And you think Zion, someone that's 300 pounds, getting an offensive rebound and throwing it back up and falling over. He shouldn't go down that easy. Some of the calls looked questionable, but obviously some were very fair. But still, 47 free throws versus 27, that's just an astonishing difference. And that wasn't the only problem tonight. We also had a huge problem in terms of rebounding difference. I know we were going to get to that, but I just wanted to quickly point that out. 51 rebounds for the Pelicans, 39 for the Raptors, and 15 offensive rebounds for the Pelicans, 10 for the Raptors. That's another problem that needs to be sorted out and seems to be something that's stopping us from winning games.
Yeah, we were out-rebounded for the 4th time out of 5 games this season. And yeah, it's becoming a major issue, like you said. Is it because we're one of the smallest teams in the league in terms of height? Or is it just our lack of effort to get in position and secure the rebound? These are questions that we obviously have to ask Nick Nurse and what he sees really on the court. But our rebounding has been very poor through all the games. We saw spurts of great offense in the fourth quarter, completing plays, the ball was circulating, and the most important thing I saw was there was no hesitancy with shooting. And I think the Raptors team does that well when they are playing well. The Raptors bench outplayed the Pelicans bench 38-23 in scoring. And another noticeable thing here, the zone and double teaming has to stop now for the Raptors. This is really pissing me off here. I think the man really suits them more. I think zone and double teaming are playing into are playing into the hands of the great offensive players in this league, like Ingram, DeRozan, people who know how to make plays, and it's just making it easier on them to kind of construct the offense and make plays. So, Gabe, what's your opinion on this Nurse with the zone and double teaming stuff? It's happening frequently.
Yeah. I don't think it is going to work for this team. It has not worked so far. We saw against the Spurs, DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, easily playing out of it, getting easy buckets. It just looks dumb sometimes. I gotta be honest. When this time, Brandon Ingram, we double teamed him around half court, and with all that space, you gotta think Brandon Ingram, with shoes on, he's probably about 6'9". He can see over a lot of players. He's very tall and lanky. Definitely, probably his registered height is definitely lower than he actually is. That's very common in the league. And you think someone like him, he can easily see Steven Adams, who's a tree out there. He's going to throw it to him, and Steven Adams has all the options in the world. Do I drive now with an advantage, a possible 4-on-3? Do I kick it to the corners? We saw one time Josh Hart in the corner wide open because of a pass from Bledsoe. Another time Bledsoe in the corner wide open. Their ball movement tonight was obviously fantastic. You got to give them credit, but we made it easy on them. These double teams looked like idiotic. They weren't the right times to do the double teams, or they were way too easy of double teams, and their players passed out of it very easily, and it gave them wide open looks. So I don't think it's something that we should be looking at too much in the future unless it's desperately needed, and it's a player maybe who is not good under the pressure, not good under double teams, but Brandon Ingram looked like he was totally fine out there.
Yeah, I agree. Nurse, I respect the creativity, but I don't think this one's the right call. Moving on to the Pelicans team, the Pelicans moved the ball well and never really stayed stagnant on offense. Lonzo, Bledsoe, and Ingram were making all the right reads to give their teammates great looks, honestly, that they cashed in on. Ingram is really turning into the superstar right in front of our eyes, and his IQ has improved tremendously, obviously from the Lakers. And Zion and Adams brought their physicality once again, and were a great duo on the inside that the Raptors had trouble slowing down. And Redick was also quiet for once off the bench, which was a nice thing to see.
Yeah. Too bad Brandon Ingram, 31 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. He basically got what he wanted out there. He reminds me so much of Kevin Durant in his playing style. He just takes what's given to him. He can hit the midi, he can hit fades, he can shoot the 3-ball, he can drive, draw calls, play make. He does it all. And he looked like he was having an easy time out there doing what he wanted on the court. Not to mention Zion, who was playing a bit of bully ball, had a great spin move on OG, offensive rebounds. He had 21.7 boards. He was feasting out there. Steven Adams, you said, double-double. Bledsoe, a double-double as well. 19 points, 10 assists. He moved the ball fantastically along with Lonzo. They were hitting shots a lot better than they usually do, and they were moving the ball well, and it made the offense flow very nicely for the Pelicans. You got to think someone like Bledsoe, who shot about 16% from 3 last playoffs, shot 4 for 6 tonight from 3, including a dagger near the end of the game in the corner. That was partially contested with the shot clock running down. When someone like that is playing that well and doing these unorthodox things you didn't think he'd be able to do, it really causes problems in your team's defensive matchups. And it looked like we just struggled out there because their starters played really well.
Yep, moving on to the Raptors players. Pascal Siacom fouling out. The trend does continue, but this time it's with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. His discipline and defensive IQ has to improve. Not only is he making individual mistakes now, but he's also making errors that hurt the Raptors in the long run because they will have to play foul-less defense. I talked about this before. When one guy fouls that much in a single quarter, it puts pressure on the team to play foul-less defense, and you usually play worse because guys are scared to make contests. Guys are really scared to make a big play, and it really brings down the intensity of the team because of the fear of fouling, right? So I think that's a big issue, and he's not giving us the stats now. Before he was giving us the stats with no efficiency, now it's looking like both. But to crack a positive on the night, we did see hints of playmaking from Pascal, which I do give him credit for. But yeah, he ended off with 10 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist. But he does need to shut down the 3-ball, in my opinion, for now, and really focus on the mid-range and inside game. Similar to DeMar DeRozan's game before this year, I think that would really benefit him. And what happened to Pascal's transition game? I thought he was a much more better transition player than we're seeing right now. When he came into the league, his strength was to play in the transition, and now we're just not seeing him get out. I don't know if it's because of the rebounding situation, and Nurse wants him back around the net to grab the rebound. I don't know what it is, but we're not seeing Pascal in transition, and he's not feeding off of that. And we know when the Raptors are playing their best, we're getting stops and going out in transition. So, Gabe, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think Pascal is doing a lot of rebounding. I think that's been a focal point maybe of Nurse saying that because we're getting a rebound every game. He's probably telling him, you got to stay back and rebound. And that's causing him to get the rebound and run the offense, transition, but he ends up passing it off and maybe doesn't follow through with the play because we settle with the three, or maybe he settles with a three and stays around the arc instead of driving in. I'm not too sure there. But for his performance overall, obviously horrible. There's been a trend that I've told Adam about. I like to call it the roller coaster effect. Yeah. What he does is that he starts off the game decently. He shows some spurts of breaking out of the funk or playing a solid night. So he makes a couple of good plays. He makes a couple shots. It might be a midi, which isn't his best shot. He's still working on it. He might hit a back-to-back three-pointer, which is inconsistent at times. Or he might make a couple of nice layups. So he'll make a couple baskets, a couple good passes. His playmaking looks rather well. This game especially, I got to give him credit. He first quarter, he only has 1 assist, so the stats don't tell the full story, but he was moving the ball very well, driving kicks, and if the players were shooting better tonight, he could have had probably about 5 or 6 assists in the night total, but his playmaking was decent. But this roller coaster effect, he starts off decent, there's a lot of stuff going well, and it's like you're going up the roller coaster, things are looking good, but eventually the roller coaster starts slowing down as you approach the top. That happens after the 6 or 7 solid minutes in the first quarter, where he starts missing a shot or two, maybe a turnover or a really dumb or confusing play. You're like, why did he do that? Yeah. That kind of happens around the first, second quarter. He starts to miss more shots and get more turnovers, maybe some dumb fouls, and that's the top of the roller coaster. Then the third and fourth quarter, second half, he just shuts down. It's like you're going down a roller coaster full speed, and it's just, you started off getting worse at the top of the incline, then you start going faster and faster full speed. It's like he gets worse and worse and worse. He misses shot after shot. He can't make a three. He can't make a post up. He won't get a foul call, and he will get fouls against him. It'll be a bunch of them at a time. Frustration fouls, turnovers, ball slipping out of his hands. It's just like a rapid decline. It gets worse and worse, and we saw it this game. He struggled so much. He was off for bits because of foul trouble, and that maybe caused him to go cold a little bit. And luckily, we saw Boucher fill in the role there. But all that foul trouble and all those horrible plays, he ended up fouling out. 8 minutes left. That can't happen to our star player, quote unquote, who's only producing 10 points a night. It's horrible. He had the worst plus minus in the whole team, -16. That just shows how bad he was when he was on the floor. Not only was it offensively not being able to score, but defensively as well. It looked like he couldn't contain his own man, whether it be Zion or Ingram. There was always a problem rebounding or maybe just trying to stay with the man, not get a foul called against. It was tough to watch, honestly, very tough to watch him play. Mind you, the 6th foul he got was a little soft. Josh Hart kind of just blew by there, but still fouling out way too early, and now it's becoming too often. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And Pascal, I mean, I kind of really lowered expectations now for him, and so I don't get too upset when watching him. But yeah, I just don't think he's that all-star player that he was, at least last season in the regular season. Moving on to OG, he started off poorly in the first half, but did come alive in the second half and really played with no tension. You can see it in his movements and release. He ended the night with 17 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Defensively was outplayed by both Zion and Ingram one-on-one, which is a bit of an issue. That's the one problem I have with him. But either than that, he had a pretty solid game. And yeah, he has been getting outplayed by the opponent's best player night after night, and this is really a worry for Raptors fans. Being OG our best wing defender, honestly. And yeah, but honestly, on the offensive end, I think he had a great night. We can't expect him to be consistent all the time. He's just not that player. And if you're wanting him to be consistent all the time, it's just you're just over your head. You're not thinking straight, because OG is not a guy that has ever really been consistent on the offensive end. He just doesn't have the tools in his arsenal right now, at least, to be doing that, right? Yeah, there's just good games and bad games for him. In this case, it was a good half, bad half scenario. The first half, he only shot 1 for 5. All missed shots were threes. And in the second half, he woke up. I think he had like one important three in the corner, a couple of drives to the basket. He got one on Josh Hart, backing him down near the end of the game when we had to cut the lead there. And he ended off decent, 17.7 boards. So overall, it wasn't a bad game, but on the offensive end, but defensively, he really struggled to stay on Ingram and keep him at bay and try not to foul. He was just getting outplayed completely. And we'll see in the next game. His struggles from three have been very prevalent, which we don't want.
Yep. Moving on to Fred, really stepping his game up. He knows his team needs some scoring power and offense, and he gave it to them once again with 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. It was on 9 for 23 shooting. But I don't mind him shooting that much, honestly, because of how big of a threat he is. And he's starting to draw more fouls, taking after Kyle, learning off of him, probably speaking to him, getting a couple moves out of his arsenal. And he's getting a lot more respect from the referees in these last couple of games. So that's really nice to see because he does work hard on trying to draw fouls as well. And defensively rarely got beat. And once again, brought intensity. Fred VanVleet, an awesome performance.
Yep. Obviously, fantastic game numbers-wise. That shooting percentage obviously is a little low. But like we said, if anyone's been consistent throughout their career and shown promise, it's been him. I'll accept him taking those amount of shots. Because we know he can produce in some ways or others, instead of others. If he misses the 3-ball, he goes to the rack. He's so crafty out there, and I wish he got more calls, to be honest. I feel like the refs at times, against us at least, had the whistles shoved down their throat because on the other end, they were blowing it like maniacs, but for us, we couldn't draw anything. And Fred, who draws a lot of contact, gets in between the man and the ball. He seems like he could be drawing a lot more, but still fantastic performance from him. And Kyle, another pretty good night, I would say. 16, 6, and 8 are great numbers. Obviously, the shooting percentage was rough, 4 for 14. He struggled to shoot the 3-ball, especially when we needed it to cut the lead. But we know he does so much on the court just to bring this team's morale up, to bring the defense up, draw charges, make impactful plays, play make. He had a big back down on Josh Hart near the end as well. He does a lot on the court, so it's not a horrible game from him. I'll take it. But obviously, there can always be improvement.
Moving on to Norm. Had an above average game. Not too much to say from me about him. Honestly, hitting 4 threes, ending off with 12 points and a rebound. Yeah. In this game, he looked more comfortable than the past games. But in the Celtics games, we can see otherwise here. Yeah,
very quiet night for him in the first half. So I didn't really have much to say. In the second, he did make a barrage of threes, including a really big 3-pointer to, I believe, cut the lead to 1 or something like that. But still, good night from him. Can't complain about that. Aaron Baines, next guy I want to talk about. Decent game so far on the offensive end. In the first half, he got himself involved more than usual. 6 points, 3 for 4 shooting in the first half. But his defense, I think he just struggled a lot. Guys, going up against, obviously, Steven Adams, who's a huge center, big body, very strong and athletic. He definitely did a good job dominating Baines. And Zion and Ingram also had their solid nights as always. They're tall, they're big, and they were getting offensive boards. So Baines looked like he was struggling trying to contain all those guys, while help defense he's not the best at already, and trying to worry about Steven Adams is a problem on its own, never mind trying to help other guys on the floor. And it made sense why he played less here, because he didn't play that well, and Boucher kind of took more of a star performance tonight, and Boucher at the 4 kind of gave the opportunity to get that 2 bigs together, which I've been saying this whole time, that the 2 bigs seems to be working great. Boucher at the 4, it's working good. I want to see more of that, but the rebounding was a huge problem this game, and Baines was one of the reasons why.
Yep, Baines, once again, still struggling defensively. When biting on the pump fakes, late rotations, and ultimately rim protection, I think those 3 things are causing him to not perform well defensively. He also doesn't have a block on the season, as well as a double-double, and for a starting center, that is very, very, very worrying. Honestly, that is sad to see. Offensively, he should cut out shooting the 3, because it's really not a threat, and his inside game is much more efficient and hard to guard with the strength he portrays, even though he hasn't been using it to his full ability. But yeah, that's all I have to say from Baines. He had a below average game once again, Aaron Baines. Moving on to Kyle Lowry. Lowry was guarded extremely tight with the athleticism and strength of the Pelicans guards, which I think really hurt his performance. But like always, making an impact on the defensive end with a few charges that swung momentum in the Raptors' favor. And yeah, I thought he had a great night.
I already commented on Lowry, so I'm going to move to Boucher here. Second quarter explosion for him, ended that half with 13 points, 2 boards. And we saw him at the 4 instead of Pascal, which was really nice. Kind of played well with Fred, kind of took over the Fred-Pascal dynamic, which is what I love to see. And the foul trouble gave him tons of minutes for Boucher to play because Pascal had to leave and was out in the second. And Boucher ended the night, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 1 dime, and it was a very important one to Fred VanVleet, who ended up taking the lead off a three-pointer. He had 2 steals and a block as well, 28 minutes, one of the only players to shoot above 50%, and played great help D as much as he could have. I think he worked extremely hard this game, making his own plays, trying to get his own buckets, hustling, pick and rolls, drawing fouls. He shot a perfect 9 for 9 from the free throw line, which is what we love to see, and proving some people wrong that he can hit the free throws when they matter. Not to mention the clutch N1 midi to cut the lead. Ended up fouling BI late, which is disappointing, but then again, the one-on-one defense was so atrocious tonight, especially on BI and Zion, that it was not much he can do, and you're going to take a foul from the help defender because the regular defender one-on-one couldn't stop him, so it wasn't really Boucher's fault. And overall, Boucher's had a fantastic night, one of the star performances in my eyes. He's the player of the game in the second half, and I want Fred to have it in the first half because they both played so well.
I totally agree, and I like how you split it because they both had great games, and especially in separate halves. But yeah, Boucher's doing the spotlight. He's performing at an all-time high here, and Nurse shouldn't look past him. I don't know what Chris can do more to persuade Nick Nurse's stubbornness to give him a chance at that starting position. And it's really sad because he was quick to give Baines a chance. And now with Boucher, he keeps on waiting for this magical moment to appear. I don't know what else he wants him to do. He's performing consistently every game so far this season, except really the Philly game because he played 2 minutes. So honestly, I don't know what else Boucher has to do. But moving on, Len, Johnson, and Davis played 23 minutes combined and were held quiet altogether this game, and that was about it for this one. Now moving on to the Celtics game. This one made the head spin a little bit. The Raptors lose 126-114. Celtics were missing Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, and Jeff Teague. Three guards in the same position. They ended up starting, I think the guy's name was Tremont Waters, their 4th string point guard. And Peyton Pritchard also played the backup role, also had a great night. The Raptors out-rebounded for the 5th game this season. It's honestly really becoming a trend. 6 straight game, double-digit lead that they lost, and they ended up losing the game. It's bad. It is really bad. I mean, the Knicks game, it could have been like that. They were up double digits, but they ended up getting the win. But it's just really sad to be blowing the leads like this every game and getting off to such great starts and then just not continuing it with the consistency, right? The final score, honestly, in my opinion, does not tell the full story in this one, as we had a late run in the 4th quarter, which I call the fake comeback once again. The third stringers were on the court. It wasn't really a comeback. We weren't in the game basically all game since the 2nd quarter. And the Raptors got outscored 38-14 in the 2nd quarter. And why is 1 quarter every game? Why are we collapsing in that 1 quarter every game? I don't understand. Yeah, I really don't get that.
It ends up being either the 2nd quarter or the 3rd quarter every game. 3rd quarter was the tragic one for the most part, and in this game it was the 2nd quarter. I was going to say 38-14, just complete destruction. We played very well in the 1st quarter. We started off strong, and I was okay. Maybe this game will look a little bit different. And then there comes like the classic 1 quarter we play horrible. We couldn't score. We couldn't defend for the life of us. Never mind, Tatum was practically unguardable this game. So we just shut down, and it caused a huge switch in the game, and now the tempo's messed up. We're either trailing or it's a very close game and uneasy, and we failed to perform. If you look at their team's performances, Tatum, 40 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 58% from the field. Absolutely unreal performance. He looked very hard to guard. I can't even blame the defense too much on the Tatum stuff because he made some tough shots. He had 2 or 3 really tough 3-pointers with 2 guys in his face or no space on the closeouts, and he was just hitting them. Hands in the face didn't matter. He hit some tough shots, and when you got someone dropping a 40 bomb like that, it's not much you can do. But I'm disappointed because, like you said, they had no Kemba, no Marcus Smart. They're missing 2 other top guys, and they're still performing horribly. What are they doing? How could you not stop only a couple of good players in their team at a time?
Yep. I totally agree with that, Gabe. And, Jason Tatum had a hell of a night, honestly. And, I have some questions for Nick Nurse. I don't get, Nurse has to really rotate the team more and most importantly be more consistent with the minutes. This is a huge point. He's giving the players, not really consistent minutes, honestly, and he's expecting them to play consistently. If you're on the bench and if you put yourself into the player's shoes and you don't know how much minutes you're going to be getting that night, it's very hard to kind of determine or visualize your performance or what you're going to do, because you could be playing 2 minutes one night and then 20 the next. So it's really hard. I think he really has to change this and really start playing the players more consistently.
Yeah, I get he's trying to play a game of matchups and the minutes are to win games night in and night out, but it's just not working. And if you're going to do that, I say you just give everybody a good chunk of minutes, drop the starters a little bit and give more players good chunks of minutes, so then you can at least see who deserves the spot in a permanent rotation, and then you can make that decision if you don't know who exactly deserves the spots. But you got to be fair. If guys aren't playing good, you got to give them less minutes, give more to the other players, let some of the bench players step up. We finally let Malachi play tonight. Obviously didn't play well, didn't do much of anything tonight, so I can't complain about him not playing. Disappointing first game for our rookie. Pritchard shined tonight and went 3 picks earlier, sadly, and Pritchard had a fantastic night. He had 23 points, 8 assists, 62% from the field. He looked like crazy to watch, very shifty, fast, good IQ. And Malachi, meanwhile, 0 for 6, 4 missed 3-pointers, 15 minutes of play, and his defense was maybe average, maybe a little bit above average, but didn't have much of a presence at all. So I can't complain that now I understand maybe why Nurse wanted to stay away from all the small guards, especially because Malachi didn't show his worth that much, but at least he gave me the opportunity to get the minutes. People have been asking, where the heck's Malachi? You have a backup point guard, you're not using him. But maybe this made the case for why Malachi shouldn't have as much minutes as we all thought.
Yeah, and also the Celtics played well and really were the aggressor, which gave them 34 free throws on the night, and which was really impressive. And then the rebounding that their guys had, Ogilvy, Grant Williams, and Robert Williams, kind of undersized bigs that really showed their physicality in the rotation and really played well. And what's up with the mismatches on defense? Gabe, I know you pointed that out to me a couple times when watching the game. What's your opinion on with these mismatches? I think we had Fred on Tatum a lot of the plays on the switches. Is it just Brad Stevens being smart with the pick and roll kind of switches, or is it just?
I honestly don't know. I was really confused watching this game because I kept looking at the TV and just thinking, why is Fred on Tatum this play? Just switch, like they had times where they could switch back and they weren't switching back. I'm like, does Nurse want Fred on Tatum to try like just keeping a pesky defender close by? Like Tatum's shooting over everybody. I don't think a smaller defender is going to make it any better. We're just getting mismatches left and right. I don't know what was happening. Although they had great performances in Brown, Tatum, Pritchard, and we couldn't guard them, the matchups were just weird, and we weren't doing a good job at switching off them. Not to mention our defensive rotations were horrible this game. I don't know if you were going to point that out. We were moving very slowly. When they were moving the ball, we always left the guy open, and it always ended up being the best shooter somehow. Like Tatum was being the guy left open off of a ball movement play, and Tatum would be wide open in the corner. Like, why are you leaving that guy of all guys open? I don't understand what was happening.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The matchups were off. And I think, I don't know if Nurse wanted the matchups. I think just a guy like Fred has so much pride in himself and like not letting a player score on him that he'll take any matchup. But I just didn't feel like it was the right one. Obviously, Tatum being a lot taller and can shoot over people. So I just personally that specifically wasn't the right matchup, honestly. But yeah, is it too early to start thinking about trading away pieces of this team before we get into the Raptors players? This question is huge. I hear a lot of the media talking about it. Maybe DeMar DeRozan, James Harden, not in my opinion. I think he's an okay player. Just I don't think he fits this culture. But DeMar DeRozan is a huge one that a lot of people are talking about. And do we see ourselves trading for him, Gabe?
It's obviously very early in the season, man. Like we're being rash because it's just 6 games in, but it's a concerning 6 games. We have the second worst record in the league. Our coach doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. In the interviews, he looks extremely confused, sad, disappointed. I'm getting weary for his job position. Guys like Norm, Pascal, are they going to stay? OG, I don't know. Like I wouldn't be surprised if moves are being made or before trade deadline we see a big move. I just don't know if it's going to be worthwhile. Like it's going to give us the opportunity to make the playoffs, or is it going to be too late for us by then that there's no point in even having that trade go through. We might as well just write out the season, end up in a shitty position, and get a draft pick. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's too early to be talking about trades.
Yeah, we've been in the slums long enough, and we've been the Bargnani days, and we've had enough losing. I think we just have to go. We have to be a winner every year and just try to go above 500 every year. That's what the Raptors franchise is all about. We embrace winning. We don't embrace getting lottery picks. That's maybe the Knicks, but that's not us. All right. So moving it into our players, Siakam once again had a below average night, but is showing signs of waking up. He had that third quarter stint with a big block. I think it was on Semi Ojeleye, and then did a little euro and a little hop step around Jason Tatum at the other end. We need more of that from Siakam. I think we need to get him angry and pumped up. I've never seen that out of him before, and have that kind of explosiveness and burst. And we need that out of him, honestly. But once again, back to the negatives. Ended with the game with 5 personal fouls. This is becoming another issue. The guy is a foul machine. He can't stop fouling. He has to produce much more and is really looking like a bust with this max contract extension deal. Like, I don't know what else to say. He ended with 22 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And it's just the same things over and over again. Like, it's just, you can talk to the media and say the same things, but in the game, I think he just needs to think more and try to look what he's doing wrong. If you're going to say you're watching the film, okay, try to improve those things that you're talking about on the interviews. Like, I don't understand what's going on there.
This game, it was a little bit of a different type of roller coaster, but I think my roller coaster analogy still holds up. This time it was more like a bumpy ride because it started off decent, then it was horrible, but then he had a stint in the third, back to horrible. He just shows stints of good plays, but he can't keep it consistently. But if we see more of that play where he was pissed off, then there might be hope of some type of return because you could tell he was angry. He knew that he wasn't playing well, and he had enough. He had that huge block, the Euro, step by and one on somebody. He had that huge dunk where he looked like he had a springboard and jumped in the air for how hard he put that thing down. He had the points where he woke up, and we just need to see more of that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Pascal. The bumpy ride analogy, I think, takes it the best. It hits the nail on the head right there. Moving on to OG, I'm really starting to think he's really getting overrated defensively. This is the 4th time that his matchup, which to be fair is usually one of the opponent's best players, has gone off. His offensive game I've completely disregarded at this point right now, because if he can't be our best wing defender, then we have a lot more to worry about, honestly. There's also no secret to unlocking his offensive game, and it's plain out just making his threes, which will then open up other areas to exploit that the defense will give him then. He ended up with 10 points and an assist, and that's what I have to say about OG.
Yep, OG, make it simple. I talked about it for the last game, and now I'm just going to say it again. That 3 ball was still not consistent, and it's a problem. 3 for 19 in his past 3 games. 3 for 19 from 3. That's 16% approximately. Under 16 actually. But that's not a good number at all. And for that role that he's playing, which is kind of like a 3-and-D role, that needs to be improved dramatically, or else he becomes very stagnant on the offense or not as useful. So that's something that needs to be fixed ASAP. Yeah.
Lowry struggled shooting the ball tonight, going 5 for 13, but got to the line 8 times and ended up with 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. We can't rely on Kyle every night to give you scoring. He'll give you 100% on defense and offense, but he cannot give you 25 plus every game. It's just not the reality of things. It's not his play style. We have to understand that. And we can rely on him for being a leader and everything, but he's doing his best out there, and we really need to help him out.
I think people, overestimate what he's capable of. You got to remember, this guy's getting old, man. His body's going to take a toll, especially like the limited time he gets off. I'm sure game in and game out, he feels the effects of working hard, taking charges, banging bodies. He puts in a lot of effort out there, and people got to understand that he can't perform fantastically on both ends. And that's where we got some of the younger guys to step up. Fred VanVleet, great night. In the first half alone, 18 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 7 for 12. It's very similar to the last game. Someone that's becoming very reliable for us in the scoring end, especially the first half. It looks like he's having a great time out there. First quarter, lighting it up with 3-pointers. That was the easy way to kick it off for him. And the end of the game, 35 points, 8 boards, 3 assists. Fantastic night. Shot efficiently too, 65%. Great job at scoring and attacking the basket, being crafty, and working hard on defense as always. Couldn't have asked for a better performance from Fred tonight.
Yeah, he's really building his consistency in his game, and we're seeing it night in, night out now. And he's leading by example and is doing his best to get the team believing in themselves again. I mean, post-game comments, he said that he needs to really get the team to start believing in themselves again. And everyone's down right now, but Fred and Kyle are not the type of people to just fold. They're going to try to find ways to get the team back together and performing like they always were. Moving on, Aaron Baines, garbage. Lost all respect for Aaron Baines as a basketball player. He's an amazing person and really wants to succeed, but that's not the reality here. 0 points, 4 rebounds, 0 to 5 shooting, and hasn't had a double-double all season. This is really starting to get worrying for me. It's really turning out to be a mistake, really, by Masai Ujiri, and a costly one by signing Baines, and he is not a starting center in this league and never has been. So why would we decide to give him the chance here? Is it because he looked good last year because Aiden was out? He looks lost on offense. For the IQ that the coaches are crediting him to have, he's not using it well at all. He's just looking to set screens and roll occasionally, and it's become a problem now. I'm sorry to take it out on Baines. He's a great person, but he just hasn't been performing. You can say it's 7 games into the season and being very harsh. Well, I'm commenting on the 7 games that he's given me, so his performance have been horrible. So.
That's fair, honestly. You hit the nail on the head there. Last game, he looked decent on the inside, but what happened this game? Inside shots, layups, post hooks, tip-ins, putbacks, anything, whatever you want to call them. He had raw cans. He couldn't put it in. It was garbage. Only stat was the 4 rebounds out there. You can't do anything on the offensive end. You couldn't have contributed an assist, nothing, and didn't even play that much either because he just had a horrible night and couldn't do anything useful out there on the offensive end, at least.
Yep. Moving on to the total opposite. Chris Boucher, not missing a beat this season once again. When given his consistent minutes, he ended up with 9 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Yep. Never mind his weight or look. The guy is our best rim protector, period. I don't want to hear any ifs or buts. He's the most active in the paint out of all 3 centers and honestly should be given the starting role. Nurse has complained about his rebounding, but he's only one guy. There's 4 other guys on the court that need to be boxing out and doing their defensive responsibilities. So you can't just be blaming him on one play or one guy. It's not the reality of the situation here. Nick Nurse has to change that kind of stubbornness about Boucher not being able to grab rebounds when he's on the court.
I agree. I honestly don't have anything more to say. I want to move it to just the bunch of TD, Matt Thomas, Malachi. I want to bring that conversation back. Matt Thomas didn't play, and TD had 17 minutes. Offensively, 13 points, 2 boards, 3 assists, 50% shooting. He had a spark of potential in the offensive end. We could see that. But defensively, this is the reason. Even Matt Thomas, Nick Nurse is making it really clear that the reason that he prefers Stanley Johnson to be playing over those guys is the defense, because they have just made so many defensive mistakes. In this game, we saw some of them from TD, letting guys blow right by him. One stupid foul when we had a chance to bring a comeback. He slapped the guy on the shoulder when he was behind him. That's not a contest. You're not doing anything useful, but giving the guy 3 free throws, and it's Pritchard who was playing amazing and made all 3 free throws in the end. So some just bad plays, bad fouls. Overall defensively, he's just making a lot of mistakes. And we know Matt Thomas isn't the best defender either. So it's really clear why he's giving Stanley some minutes. But, Stanley does it on the defensive end. He had 3 steals, 2 assists, 2 boards. But offensively, like I said, it's not there entirely. So there's give and take everywhere, man. We're struggling to find guys that can do it on both ends.
Yeah, if you really look at the game from the box score, yeah, you could say, hey, he had a good game statistically with 13 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. But the guy made poor decisions that stopped our run in the fourth quarter because he smacked Pritchard's arm going up for a 3-pointer that led to 3 shots. It broke the momentum, the run stopped, and the game kind of collapsed from there. Also, on offense, he tried to make this needle-threading pass, which not even John Stockton can make a pass like that, and he ended up turning it over. I don't get it. That's another guy with the roller coaster. Just things are happening. You just got to slow it down up there. Start thinking, using your head. And just playing your role. You don't have to make an impact too fast or anything. Just do what the coach wants, and that's all.
Yeah, I just want to make one last comment. Something that I want to touch upon is Yuta Watanabe. I want to see more of him. Please, Nurse. He's one of the only bigger players we have in this team that's actually producing on both ends. We've seen him when he comes on the court. His energy, it's infectious on both ends. He's tipping rebounds. Defensively, offensively, keeping plays alive. Hit the 3 ball. He's showing that he can hit it. When he was on the court, we had that spark. We had the run where we almost got the comeback going, and Boston was forced to bring on their starters in just 4 minutes of him being on the court, and he hit that 3-ball and a rebound, I believe. So I just want to see more of him. I think that have a lot of short guards, and Nurse made a point of this, that we have a lot of short guards, and they're not playing defense, and the lineups aren't working out. Let's see some more bigger guys get some minutes. Let's see Watanabe play some more. Let's see Boucher start. These, I think, are some of the keys that we need to address, and I want to see more of them.
Yeah, he really was an example of being ready, being game ready. When he came into the game, he looked like he was fighting for his life out there on defense. On offense, he looked really sharp. Yeah. And yeah, like Gabe said, his athleticism, his defense has been great. And yeah, we want to see more of Utah. I mean, he's one of the bigger guys on the team, and we're struggling with things that he brings to our team, especially wing defending, rebounding. So let's give him a chance. Why not give him a chance? We're 1-5. You know, we don't have to play him a big amount of minutes, but give him bigger minutes than what we did give him, right? So Utah is another positive on the night.
Yeah, we're complaining about defense, rebounding. He's a defensive player of the year, former defensive player of the year. Come on, what more can we ask here? This is everything we can give you. So I just want to see some moves here, and we need to just figure it out and wake up, because I have a feeling some people are going to be out of a job very soon if this keeps up. All right, we hope you all enjoyed, everybody. Please give your opinions down below. We need to hear what the heck this team has to do to wake up. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Rapzville. And as always, that's us signing out. Peace.
Peace.